Good evening and welcome to a new edition of To The Point. This evening we'll be delving into the situation in the United States, the role of Russia and Turkey and Iran will also be under discussion this evening, leading off with the United States. And we have with us in the studio Dr. Khaled Refaat, Director of the Tiba Center for Political Studies. A pleasure to have you with us.
My pleasure.
We're witnessing Senate elections. It's a very, very close race. We have, I believe, 2 more states that will be deciding. And should there be a tie, Kamala Harris will step in and draw the balance, so to speak, cast the deciding vote. Trump is still not accepting defeat very easily. There are calls for protests and what have you. How do you think the situation in the states will be? Initially, deep presidency. Is the race over?
It's over. It's already over, but President Trump doesn't admit it, but it's over. Okay. Everyone all over the world knows it's over. Before we went on air right now, just 15 minutes ago, I checked the news. We found that some hundreds of people are right now in Freedom Plaza in D.C.
Yes.
Freedom Plaza, as you know, it's a few blocks from the White House.
Yes, yes.
And there is some calls for demonstrations and protesters to gather there and to say no, it's fake news and election fraud and all these uncertain things. There's no proof at all for this thing. He went to the court and almost 35 courts denied he is right. So now we have a fact on the ground. We have a fact that there is a President-elect Joe Biden, and tomorrow the Congress should certify him as a new President of the United States. But we have some case of denial for President Donald Trump, and he has some supporters, but day after day the number of his supporters decreases. Right now we have only a few hundreds in the Freedom Plaza, and I expect by tomorrow we have a few thousands, no more than that, gathering in New York, in Washington D.C. They are asking for just one thing, for the Congress to stop to certify the new president, and I think it is very, very, very uncertain to happen.
The elections, the Senate elections, because really the system in the United States, the power is multifaceted, so to speak, and here the House plays quite a heavy role. Should the Senate go against Biden, how will the shape of the presidency be?
This depends on the result of the elections. If the Democrats win this president, they will have Harris as vice president, so they gotta chair the House, so they will have the upper hand in the House. At this time, President Joe Biden will have no problem to pass any resolution he wants. But the problem will come if the Republicans have the upper hand. If they have 51 to 49, this is going to be the problem. They will stop most of his plans right now, because President Joe Biden, when he said his plan to do, most of this plan is against what Trump did or what the Republicans did.
Yes.
So now we now have a critical, very, very critical election right now. I think this election is more important than the presidential election, because this election can give us an idea who's going to control the new resolutions. Will it be an easy period for President Joe Biden, or is it going to be through all fighting with the House? And I expect that the Democrats will do it again. And that's why they will have the majority this time. Because the 2 states, as you mentioned in the beginning, are divided, but for now, the trend of the voters goes to the Democratic. They don't want to involve in another war. They don't want to involve in a commercial war with China. They don't want to involve with all the problems with Europe, with Britain, even with Canada, even with Mexico.
Yes.
As you know, that President Trump, in his era, in his period, he created a lot of ethical wars, of verbal wars with almost everyone all over the world. He has a problem with Europe, problems with Canada, problems with Mexico, problems with the Arabs. He prevented inhabitants of 6 countries to get in the States. He has a problem with immigrants. There's a problem with blacks. There's a problem with gays, a problem with women. It has a problem everywhere. Right now, the American people want some ease, some peace of mind. Stop fighting. Let's go and reunite the country again, because the country now is divided. If you go to the country, it's deeply divided. I've never seen the United States divided like that before. So right now, I think number one task for President-elect Joe Biden is to fight Corona. Number two is to reunite the United States again, right? The people of the United States.
Is it easy to reunite the people again, do you think?
I think it's gonna take some time, you know. It's not just one-shot job. It's gonna take some time. I expect his first year, he's gonna spend it to revive the economy because of the Corona. I think the second year or the third year, he's gonna make some reunited again for the American people. But all these plans gonna be very easy if they win the House. But if they lose the House, all these plans gonna have a very tough time, and not gonna be easy to imply it at the same time.
The street in the United States is very much affected by local politics and very much affected by the media.
Yep.
Trump, unfortunately, did not manage to establish positive relations, if we can put it that way, with the media. Do you think the media has affected the outcome or the shape of the elections?
Yes.
Because, I mean, local media is really having a field day.
Yeah.
Since the election started.
Yes, I do agree with you. And I want to add the post type of media, if you think about typical media like CNN and whatever, and the papers. And if you talk about social media, don't forget the role of the social media, which is very, very, very effective right now. And the problem with President Trump is that he faces both of them. He went to the first typical media and he pronounced that fake news, as he usually say, and he went in another fight with Twitter, with Facebook, with whatever. So he has a war on both sides. So he lost the elections because he lost every effective movement on the ground, or every effective issue that affects the people of the United States, the voters. From the beginning, you lost both of them. So what do you expect? You're going to lose the election. And that's what happened. Another thing I want to add right now is that President Trump is not only his supporters are not from the whites or the old whites. For the time being, what I'm saying right now, that he has some supporters from the minorities too, because what happened in the first 2 years from the big boom in the economy, in the first 2 years, because he got a lot of money from the Gulf and so on. But after that, when Corona epidemic happened, economy is affected very, very badly. So you have some traces of this supporters right now. If you look at the big picture right now in Freedom Plaza, you're gonna find all whites, all old whites.
Yes.
Yeah, this is his supporters. This will give you an indication of this kind of deep segregation is happening now in the American street, or there's a division you can see in the American people right now. It's very, very dangerous. You know?
We've seen those divisions,
yes,
and how they can have grave consequences to the extent of complete fragmentation and disruption.
Yep.
We've seen it in neighboring countries, because be it a division on race or religion or any ethnic issue, it really causes quite a huge and a deep rift that is very difficult to mend. Has the United States reached that stage, in your opinion? Because we really see an out loud call of segregation, which was not there before. I mean,
yes,
you've had the whites, you've had the blacks, you've had the Catholics, what have you. They all lived in a kind of harmony, even if it's a superficial harmony. But now you see an out loud division, aggression,
yes,
on all fronts. Is this a dangerous trend that hit the States?
Let's put it that way. If you look at the United States from the beginning, they call it the melting pot. That's what they're calling, that you gather the best of the best from all over the world, and you melt them all together to have a new nation, which is the United States, the Americans. This is the main idea of the United States.
Yes.
Now, this idea is badly harmed right now, we have, if you go to the United States, you know this is a white area, this is a Hispanic area, this is a black area, or this is a white vote, this is a black vote, or this is a white elector, and this is the way is a fact we have right now. I think President President-elect Joe Biden will have some time, and he must focus on this, because this is the greatest threat he faces right now. But he doesn't have any external threat to his country for the time being, but he has a deeply internal threat to the unity of the country and the future of the people of the United States. It's not going to be easy, it's going to take some time. And I think he knows that very well. If you look at his group of aides that help him, you're going to find some are from Indian race, some from Arab origin, some from black origin, and some are gays too. His Minister of Education is a gay. And so he tried to mix all the varieties of the American people together again, to have him in his group of people, in his agency to help him. I think he's gonna make it, but first of all, we should cross our fingers that he's gonna win the election, it's a Senate election. It's very, very important for him to ease all the process he wants to do.
You said in your statement the United States has no threats from the outside. And here I will take you to the fact that some of the intelligence has been penetrated. And some people in the United States are pointing a finger at Russia for doing so. Russia, in a way, is wagging the tail of the dog quite blatantly now. How is this going to affect relations between the two countries? And maybe the question, whenever we talk about the United States, we always think it is above or beyond the capabilities of anyone to actually penetrate the system. But it seems that no system cannot be penetrated.
Yes, I do agree with you.
Is there a threat to their intelligent information, so to speak?
Frankly speaking, there is always a threat. But in fact, if we talk to the ground right now, it's a very, very little threat, because the last threat we have right now is a cyber attack that's covered. It started in, I think, September 2019.
Yes.
And from the Russians, they hacked the company called SolarWinds in Texas. This company makes all the software for 18,000 large companies in America. One of them is Homeland Security. Another one is the Treasury, U.S. Treasury itself.
Which is why Trump is coming under criticism, because they expected a stronger position by Trump vis-a-vis this.
The strange behavior, strange reaction from President Trump, that he goes to write a Twitter and he say it's Chinese attack. And everyone knows it's a Russian attack. Even Secretary of State Pompeo said it's Chinese, it's a Russian attack. And everyone knows it's Russian. So, as you say, this is a threat, but it's not a kind of threat that can demolish U.S. or destroy U.S. It's a threat you can avoid it. You can be prepared for it. President-elect Joe Biden said, we're not going to defend ourselves forever. We need to attack. We need to make the others, the hackers, to pay the price for this. And they're going to pay the price for this. So I expect him to have some system or some conclusion to attack the hackers, to not only to prevent them, no, but to attack them and to come him, to punish them, and get them to somewhere of kind of punishment. I don't know what it's going to do, but they're going to do something. As you mentioned, so the typical war is not, this is not our age. It's something from the history, from mid-ages. Now we have a cyber war, we have a commercial war, we have
the development of the different generations.
Yes. And if you talk about threats facing the United States right now, they have a commercial war with China, they have the technical or cyber war with Russia or Europe or whatever, you can name it.
Yes.
But I don't think this is a kind of demolishing threat. This is not a threat, a fear to demolish a country. This is a kind of threat, it can postpone all the fears.
But the Russian tone with the United States is very blatantly loud. It puts its hands in Turkey's hands, and it says,
and Iran hands too.
and in Iran's hands, two of the United States enemies right now. And it clearly, and it even labels US sanctions against Turkey as unjustified sanctions. Why is it very much going very, very aggressively now against US policy?
It all begins in Armenia. So in Armenia. What happens in Armenia is that the United States backed Armenia very, very strongly. And Armenia has a very, very sensitive position because it's on the border of Russia. So Russia will never allow an enemy to be on its border, his neighbor. That it all starts from there, Nagorno-Karabakh, if you remember. It all starts from there. So Russia needs to pay back what Russia did, that it goes to Turkey, which is on the border of the NATO, which has two big American bases, military bases in it. So it all started from there. And right now we see it goes vice versa. When the Americans went to Armenia, the Russians went to Turkey, now the Russians go to Iran, the Americans go to Tajikistan. This is the war that goes down. You can call it a soft Cold War, just soft war. It's a new version, but it's very soft, not like we have before in the Soviet Union era. So I see that the Russians pay back, or they defend themselves, because they will never accept to have an enemy on their borders. Americans do the same right now, because when the Russians went to Turkey, in their territories, in their area of influence, would never allow Russia to do that. It all started from there. But for the time being, now I see a big ally between Russia and China. This is all I care about. If you go to Security Council and you notice all the regulations, Security Council, you have just typical positions from China and from Russia. All go typical the same against US. This is another kind of cooperation between China and Russia. It's against US. We see when Russia gave some high military power and China gives you a high economic power, both together can make some new superpower. I'm not going to call they are superpower right now, but they are ongoing to be superpower in 2030. India, never forget India too. The Americans are supporting India right now very, very strongly against China. So it's a different soft Cold War is going right now in hot spots all over the world. One of these spots are Gulf area. I see Americans support all the Gulf countries, Russians support Iran, and the war is going on down there. And other things.
How is this going to affect us? Because really, we're not happy with Turkey's ambition for revamping the Ottoman Empire, nor with Iran's ambition of rekindling the Persian Empire either. Which is really what they're both working on, and they want to establish those empires in our regions.
We have a problem in our regions that the most effective three countries affecting the region, the area, are not Arab. You have Iran, you have Turkey, you have Israel. Both of them has intentions in our area, and all of them has economic power and have military power. So what's going on right now, what we see today, the Gulf Summit, we see that Egypt went there to attend JCCC, because Egypt has a military power, but we don't have the economic power. The Gulf has economic power, but they don't have a military power. So we have go to some cooperation. This cooperation gonna stop Iran in the first place, gonna stop Turkey, and gonna stop Israel. We should do this because it's not acceptable to have three local superpowers in our area. All of them want our land. If you look to Iran, they want a great Persian area. Turkey wants an Ottoman area. Israel wants a great Israel. This is a problem. All of them need our land. But the only way to stop all of them is cooperation with Gulf in Egypt. It's going to be some of great cooperation. And I expect the ongoing days going to have good news for us.
How can we, Turkey, there is a lot of dismay in the Turkish streets. People are not happy with Erdogan. How do you think he will be able to sustain that power in 2021? Because even though he's getting some support externally, internally really the situation is not doing very well.
As you mentioned, his problem is for internally, for the first place, not externally. He has elections in Istanbul next year in 2022. Election support, and they say in Turkey who governs Istanbul governs Turkey. Istanbul
Yes.
gave the election in Istanbul, gave indication to the election in all over Turkey. Istanbul is not the capital, it's Ankara, but it's the most important city in the whole country there. I expect he's gonna lose Istanbul election. His party gonna lose Istanbul election. If this happen, I see a complete fall of Erdogan's system. He's gonna fall at this time because he lost the supporters. People don't believe him anymore. If you go to look at the lira, the Turkish lira right now, we talk about $1 goes for 8 lira. Just a couple of years ago, it was for 4 lira. So that means everything is doubled, the prices that was there. The Turkish people are not happy to have inflation right now for 40%. They are not happy that all of this money goes outside the country. Turkish people ask, why we are involved in Syria? Why we are involved in North Iraq? Why we are involved in Libya? Why we are involved in Sudan? Why would you have a military base in Qatar? Why you have another military base in Somalia? This is a question people ask. Why you involve all these countries and we pay all our tax money to support other countries? While for the Turkish people, prices goes up and up every day, jobs are goes up and up every day, employment are goes up and up every day. All this problem is an internal problem. The Turkish people doesn't care about what's going on out of Turkey. Our care is our economy, our money, our jobs, our education, our health system. That's all we care about. And all this has a problem. A part of another thing is that there is no democracy at all. Now, if you talk anything in Turkey, you go to jail.
Yes.
Even the military, he has jailed 300 pilots, military pilots, which affected him. He has now problem with Greece, has a problem with Cyprus, has problems with Egypt, problems with Syria, with Iraq, with Libya. Everywhere has he has problems. And every price of this problem is paid by the Turkish people. Well, this is not acceptable anymore for the Turkish people. We love Turkish people. We support the Turkish people because they are brothers in everything, in our area, in the region, and everything. But we don't support the Turkish regime. The Turkish regime is vied for taking the other treasures all over the world. The oil from North Syria, from Iraq, from Libya, forever. And this is not acceptable anymore. In the new world, it's not acceptable. If you look at Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, what he said before election, he said, you gotta stop this dictator. You gotta stop. This is not acceptable anymore for Erdogan. It's not acceptable anymore. It's not acceptable to spread all over the area and take all the treasures for all the people of the area. And even if you look at your people in your country, they are going down. The poverty ratio in Turkey goes up and up every day.
Yes.
This is a big problem. So I expect in 2022, after the election of Istanbul, he's gonna lose it. And this is starts the end or the fall of Erdogan.
Speaking of Biden, will he continue the Obama foreign policy, in your opinion? Which was quite different from the Trump foreign policy.
I'm not going to say Obama foreign policy. I'm going to say democratic foreign policy. Because Obama was a traditional democratic leader, the traditional democratic president. He cares about the health, he cares about hiring, he has high tax, he cares about the abortion issue, he cares about interfering over the world for human rights issue, he cares about involving America in all over the world. Not like the Republicans. America doesn't care about that. Republicans to put a lot of money in the economy. They save money from big brothers or big companies, you know. They care about arms industry. They care about the big companies. What they say, I gotta lower the taxes for big companies, and they gonna hire more people, and when they hire more people, they gotta give them more wages, so the standard of living goes up. The Democrats don't say that. Say, no, I'm gonna take a lot of taxes from the big companies, and I spend it on the poor people. This is a complete different. If you talk about the foreign policy, yes. Republicans say, we don't care about the world, we care about America. The slogan of President Trump is, America comes first. Yes. America first. And this time is, let's America comes great again. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about the other world. But the Democrats don't say that. Say, well, I'm not going to withdraw from over the world. We're not going to go out of the world. We're going to stay in every spot in the world. We're going to affect the world. We're going to manage to divert the world to come in our interest. This is the democratic. So I'm not going to, from the people who's going to say that Joe Biden period is a third Obama period. No, it's not a third Obama period. It's just the regular expected democratic period.
For us here in this region, will we see a resolving in any of the issues? We have a lot of critical issues.
Yes.
Situation in Libya, situation in Yemen, situation in Syria, situation in Palestine. I mean, really a
Which
lot
comes first, social Palestine? This is the old new problem.
Exactly. Taking this into account, will we see a change in the strategic management of those critical issues?
Let it put it that way. We have a new era in the area. We see a new deals is going right now. After we said the wave of normalizations between Israel, it begins with United Arab Emirates, goes to Bahrain, going to Sudan, and now Morocco. So we have 4 countries in 2 months. And now there's a big talk about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, we're gonna, and it happened that President Netanyahu went to Al Ulaya and met Mohammed bin Salman. So now we have a new era in the area. This new era have some cooperation between Israel and the surrounding countries, and some of cooperation between the other countries together. Yes. Now we see some cooperation between Qatar and all the area. We see another cooperation between Turkey right now and Saudi Arabia, and I expect that maybe in the first half of 2021, we're going to see a lot of deals going right now. In the second half, hopefully, we'll get rid of Corona, hopefully. After we get rid of Corona, we're going to have some big boom, a big boost in economy. We don't, that everyone expects, but right now, I hope that we get rid of Corona. Everyone now is thinking about Corona. After that, we're going to see a lot of cooperation, about economic cooperation, political cooperation, social cooperation, traveling, everything. These things going to start over again. We need to revive the society. Now every country is shut down, could be shut down on itself.
We have on the line with us leading journalist Mr. Ahmed Mohareb from New York. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you doing? Yes.
Can you just give us a briefing? How are things at your end, and maybe the concern or what people are watching or trying to examine carefully is, will Biden be capable of reuniting again the American rank and file, or are the divisions too deep?
Actually, this is for the first time in the history of America, or history of the elections, to have such a situation. You can say that the community is divided, and America is divided. If you have some people like 74 million are on the side of Mr. Trump, President Trump, and we have more, like 80 million on the side of elected President Biden. What Mr. Trump is trying to do for tomorrow is something actually unique. On the 6th of January, the American community, the American people, the society, the government, everybody is trying to listen to what happened. What is going to happen tomorrow is some kind of a protocol. What Biden was already successful in the election,
yes,
it will be like the last step of giving him the approval that you are the next president and you will be on the White House on the January 20th. But what is strange on the story, we are not used in that community as a president was elected and the other president supposed to leave the White House. It's something unique, I mean, Mr. Trump is trying to do. But yes, I think what he's inviting his people to do, a rally, the millionaire of tomorrow, it's just a last chance for him to show his ego and his personality. But the society, the government, and all the associations are 100% sure that is a kind of unusual thing to happen to the society. It will take the time and it will take over, and it will go soon as we are expecting.
What are we expecting in the
nothing serious will
Senate?
happen tomorrow.
What are we expecting in the Senate elections?
You mean, well, the Senate election usually has to look to the correct figures of the 50 states, and it's a matter of how do you call it? Reinvent the wheel, but the wheel is still running as it's supposed to do. So we will wait for tomorrow to see, but nothing serious will happen. And the American people, the American society are used to browse with the democracy, which actually it was in a position for the last 4 years to be a little bit shaky. Even the international world are not accepting that's the America they're supposed to know for centuries. So it will come back again as a good example for a real democracy.
Do you expect the foreign policy by the new American administration vis-a-vis this part of the world? Will Biden play this region differently?
You mean our region?
I mean the Middle East, the Arab and Middle East region.
Middle East. Well,
yes.
Arab and Middle East region is actually the most hot part for the foreign policy of America. And to be honest, that part of the world for the last 4 years of Mr. Trump has got definitely some kind of unexpected or unusual situations, like when he give, as if he is giving from his own pocket, the Golan to the Israeli, and to agree of transfer the position of the embassy to Tel Aviv. Yes. All those kind of things make some, and the treatment of 5+1 of the Iranian negotiation deal, that makes a lot of irritation. Even there is some people are expecting within the next 2 weeks he can do something for Iran or against Iran. I think there is a good sign that the elected president, Mr. Biden, is trying to wrap up an open arms, open mind to continue the good relation America used to keep with that region. And I think he will not, the Biden, will give everything easy as a piece of cake to Israel, as Trump is supposed to do. I expect when Biden will start his office on the 20th of January, things will come back to normal, not only on the Middle East. I think Europe also is expecting a good deal. China and Russia are also expecting to have a good relation with the new president.
Mr. Ahmed Mohareb, thank you very much for your fruitful input. Dr. Khaled, one of the issues that are very, very critical, and even President Sisi today was addressing that issue, is the Palestinian question.
Yes.
Trump had taken quite a large strides in that direction, moving the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. I mean, so many unilateral actions were taken. Will Biden reverse some of those policies? When I say reverse, I don't mean moving the embassy again, but I mean standing by the Palestinian question, which really, unfortunately, has been lost over the past few years. I mean, we rarely talk about that question right now.
I do agree with you that the Palestinian problem is a cornerstone in this problem in this area. There is no peace without the solution of this problem. This problem now has gone on for 70 years, and I think enough is enough.
Yes.
We couldn't spend our lives and our son lives and our grandson lives fighting each other in this area. We must have a solution. The two-state solution is acceptable for all the parties. But the problem with President Trump, he was biased to Israel's point of view. He doesn't care or doesn't even look at the Arab demands in this area or Arab rights in this area. I think President Joe Biden gonna be some balanced in between Israel and the Arabs, because he don't want to lose the Arab. He don't want to just keep taking money from the Arabs, that's all. No, he needs to come back to the Arab area. America went out of the area. America withdrew from the area. But the role President Joe Biden going to play in the area, I think there's going to be some balance between both of them, between the security of Israel and the bans of the Arabs and the rights of the Arabs in this area. You have to balance between both together. I do agree with you. We need to focus on the Palestinian problem more and more. We need to remind our sons and kids about this problem. This is our land, and we should stay in this land. If we cannot take it by ourselves, at least to remind our kids to take it by themselves when the power balance is going to be changed someday.
The trade war with China, quite a huge war that Trump launched with China. And mind you, economically, the world really is ailing.
This is
in the aftermath of COVID-19. It's really ailing, and we're not expecting, I mean, we entered 2021, we're all trying to keep a positive outlook, but it seems that COVID will continue. A new mutation, it's very, very aggressive. Economies are really suffering. Lockdowns are starting to be imposed in Europe, whether we like it or not. I mean, it's really, really a tough start to the year, let alone a trade war.
All of us have the hope to come to end for this problem, but when you go to the facts on the ground, we gotta say a complete, severe second wave of coronavirus, COVID-19 virus. The only country that revived right now is the Chinese economy. This is a weird thing because this started and now they are the first country to revive. If you look at the Chinese economy, they have 6% growth ratio right now. So as we started the question of you, the commercial war between China and US or China and Europe or whatever you name it must come to an end. We come to cooperation again. China is the factory of the world. And United States is the treasury of the world. So if you have another cooperation like Obama era before, we have a big growth over the world, even for Egypt. It is very important for Egypt. We are affected from this commercial war. The whole world is affected by this commercial war. There's no need for this war at all. There's no need for this war. There's no competition between China and US. Everyone has some specification completely different than the other one. I am very optimistic, and I hope the Joe Biden era or Joe Biden term or period, whatever, will have some easing all the problems all over the world. Hopefully.
I need to wrap up, but before I do so, the European Union, Britain is out.
Brexit.
Will we see a Frexit as well? Because that's what people are talking
about.
No,
I doubt. There is two cornerstones in the European Union. We talk France or talk about Germany.
Yes.
Everyone is going to go.
Because
goes
now
out.
we hear a new terminology, Frexit.
Frexit.
I mean, it's really surfacing.
No. Because if you look at the European Union, it's Germany and France surrounded by some countries.
Yes.
But this is the two main countries. We talk about 70% of the economy in only Germany and France.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, because if one of them drops, that's it.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, I doubt.
So Frexit is a rumor.
No way, no way.
Dr. Khaled Refaat, thank you very much for joining us on To The Point. Really a pleasure to have you with us. And may the start of a new year bring in its wake lots of prosperity, happiness, and more importantly, health.
You too.
I'd like to thank you, the viewers. We'll see you same time next week. Until then, good night, and please stay safe.